Hello, welcome to Middle in Depth, part of Levant TV's Press Reviews. Mustapha Tlili, a novelist and founder and director emeritus of the Center for Dialogues at New York University, is featured in the New York Times in his op-ed titled Saving Tunisia from ISIS. Tlili, who is also a distinguished fellow at the East-West Institute, starts his piece by asking who lost Tunisia. This question may well haunt future European leaders, he says, as Hervé Morin, a former French defense minister, recently warned Europe and France in particular cannot afford to wait until the black flag of the Islamic State is hoisted above the presidential palace in Tunis. Only weeks after the Bardo National Museum massacre, a jihadist struck again at Sousse, a popular beach resort, killing dozens of European vacationers. According to Tlili, the carnage at Sousse exposed the Tunisian authorities' inability to tackle on their own the country's growing security challenges. Tunisia's successful transition to democracy, the legitimacy of its government and the bravery of its armed forces are not enough to save it. Anyone in Europe and the West should not comfort themselves with the idea that the jihadist movement will eventually self-destruct. The Islamic State, he adds, is the most barbaric, determined and messianic of them all, has been gaining ground in Tunisia. He suggests the instability in Libya that followed the ouster of Muammar al-Gaddafi has turned that country, Tunisia's immediate neighbor to the east, into a vast training camp and huge arms bazaar for Islamist terrorists of all stripes. The piece then looks at Tunisia's president as being fully aware of the mortal dangers his country confronts in the aftermath of the Sousse attack. President Beji Caid Essebsi declared a state of emergency last month. He warned that another large-scale terrorist attack could cause the state to collapse. Tunisia's vulnerability has its roots in the post-colonial era. Habib Bourguiba, the first president after independence in 1956, was eager to modernize his nation, but he was wary of the military coups that plagued other countries in the region at the time, so he spent a great time of the national budget on education and starved the army of resources. His successor, Zine al-Abidine Ben Ali, continued on the same path, but as his administration turned dictatorial, he developed a strong police force. The writer argues that as a result of this and after the 2011 revolution that deposed Ben Ali, Tunisia inherited a discredited police force and a small army which, though professional, was poorly funded and ill-equipped. The police force was largely disbanded by the new authorities and has yet to be effectively reconstituted. The writer adds that Tunisia also faces a threat from within. After decades of repression, the country's youth face high unemployment and poor prospects. Some are susceptible to radicalization by the jihadist sophisticated social media recruitment campaigns and by the proselytization of Salafist preachers from the Persian Gulf region. As many as 3,000 Tunisians have traveled to fight in the Syrian civil war, and hundreds more have become combatants in Libya. Some of these fighters returned to Tunisia to spread havoc, as was the case in the Bardo Museum and Sousse attacks. And since the President of the United States has already named Tunisia as a major ally, the writer suggests, why not also invite Tunisia to become an aspirant country for eventual membership in NATO on the basis of shared democratic values and common security interests? These values and interests are, after all, directly opposed to those of the Islamic State and its ideological kin. The writer concludes Europe has a strong interest in a secure democratic Tunisia and must come to its aid. Only if it does so can we ensure that the question who lost Tunisia is one we will never have to answer. That was it for today's analysis on Tunisia. For more updates, please visit levant.tv. You could also subscribe to Middle in Depth on iTunes. Thanks for watching and bye for now.